Hey guys, what is going on? It's me, Insightful, again here with another video. This time, this video is going to cover the essential macros and Weakauras for Shadow Priest. So this is really from my experience of playing Shadow Priest now for almost 2 weeks. Now, obviously I'm new to the class, but I think what I'm going to give you is all the essential information that is going to help you in different situations and how to optimize your gameplay. Anybody that is new to this channel will not know how min-max of a player I am. I always look to be super optimal with all my keybinds, my play style and my Weakauras, just to make everything easier for me to play. And we're all getting older, so we might as well give ourselves the best chance of winning. So let's get right into the video and first of all cover the macros. So the macros that we're going to cover today are, obviously we're going to look at arena macros. I don't play with any focus macros, just for those people out there that are into all the focus macros. You can obviously utilize them if you want, but I prefer arena 1, 2 and 3. So I think first of all it's really important to cover the spells that you want on arena 1, 2 and 3. So I think the most important ones are the ones that I've got, and that's Dispel, Psychic Horror and Silence. So you've got all of your CCs and you've got the Dispel so that you can mass dispel your enemies. These are just a super easy macro. Cast at arena 1 and then the name of the spell. So you can put these on and you can add these if you want. These are the first ones that I would recommend. So if you're doing this along with the video, then here is what they will look like. But again, if you go to my Discord, all these are on my Discord, so you can simply copy these and add these to your own macros. So the next one that I think is really nice, particularly when you're being focused, is Desperate Prayer and Fade. I don't actually use this anymore, as I like to have Fade on a different button, but you can add this, which is a really nice one. You can then, another one which I think is essential for using the Feather macro. So you can always put a Feather on yourself. You're not really going to use it on anyone else as a Shadow Priest, is this. So just / cast at player, which means yourself, and then Angelic Feather. So that's just going to help you, obviously, get a bit of mobility, as we all know that's what we struggle with. So you may be thinking, well, what about the spells that help our team, such as Swap, such as PI, such as Flash Heal? So for Flash Heal and other macros, I actually have them as at cursor. So for example, for Power Infusion, I have that as mouse over. So basically when I mouse over a target, either on the raid frame or in person, I can give them PI. So let's just put it there. And the reason I do that is because if I PI somebody else on my team, then it Power Infusions me. I've then got a few cursor macros. So I've got the same for Void Shift with the mouse over again. All I do is highlight over that and then I will Void Shift somebody. Again, so doing that for PI and Void Shift. You can also do it for your Leap of Faith. I will probably do that at some point. It just obviously really helps. So yeah, those would be the mouse over macros I'd recommend, and the arena 1, 2 and 3. You've got the Feather macro for the app player. Now we can move on to some more complicated macros, which I think really, this is when you're starting to get into the depth of playing Shadow Priest. You want to be super optimal. You want to use kind of every global. A mistake that I'm going to admit now is I played some games without even using Shadow Form, and those games didn't go well. So I started to make myself several macros which would ensure I would always be in Shadow Form. So first of all, I made this one. So this basically, so if I come out of Shadow Form, this basically makes sure that I'm in Shadow Form, and then if I am in Shadow Form, it will use Power Word Shield on me. So whenever I spam C, If I'm not in shadow form, it will put me in. So C is my power word shield. So yeah, you can add this and you will always be in shadow form, as we spam power word shield all the time. So obviously some of these or all of these spells are going to use a lot of keybinds, and you're going to want to be really optimal with your keybinds. So it's really important to sometimes find multiple functions for keys. And a great example of this is my Mind Blast and Flash Shield. So this macro is a little bit wordy, but basically what it does is if I press Control, so it's saying if I press Control here and then press the keybound 2, which is R, it will heal myself. Now this is obviously important as I get Protected Light, which is 10% damage reduction, which is absolutely essential into melee cleave. But if I use it on an enemy, it will use Mind Blast or Void Blast, which is when I tend to use it, which is what that Weakauras is for there. So yeah, and that's pretty much on one button, just Control R for the heal and then R for the normal button if it's on an enemy, and you can add @player in there to target yourself. You can take that off, so you can have that so it's at mouse over maybe, or you can have it party 1, party 2, whatever you prefer, but that is how I use that macro, and it's just a really nice kind of quality of life, and you can do that for multiple spells really. You could maybe have Fade, you could even put your Siphene and Void Wraith into a single macro. You could do it for the dots. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but I tend to use it for heal and damage spells together. I kind of find that rule really helps when you combine the two together, because you have a help spell and you have a harm spell. So I think the next spell that I need to point out is the @cursor macro. So anytime I want to do something fast, or I want to I can just point and then click. So I use this for my master spell, and wherever my cursor is going to be the middle of the spell. So that's pretty much how that works. Again, all these are available on Discord. So the last macro that I have, which is an incredibly important one, is the death macro. So what this basically does is basically targets an enemy near me, or targets my last enemy, and will use this, and I use this to prevent any CC on me. So these are basically all the macros. The last one that I want to show you is I've also got Shadow Form and Powered Fortitude macro. So again, this is to stop me not being in Shadow Form, as you'll be surprised how easy it is to do. And all I do is, if I'm not in Shadow Form, I will go in Shadow Form. If I am, it will add Powered Fortitude. Again, it's like, you know, we do this before the gates as Shadow Priest. But that is literally it for macros. I think if you're using these macros with good keybinds, they should really help improve your gameplay, or at the very least help you be more efficient. Don't keep changing things about. Try and get used to what you are doing. So I think the next thing that I want to show you guys are the Weakauras. So the Weakauras I've got are really simple, but I am obviously adding more and more every single time. So there are kind of I think 5 really, or 6 that I think are absolutely essential. I've just highlighted them on screen, so I'm gonna go over them starting from top to bottom. So Dark Evangelicalist stat counter basically tells me how many stacks of Mind Flay I have, so you can see it there. And when I have 5, my shadow damage is increased by 10%. So that's really important that I keep that up all the time. I then have another one, which you saw it pop up there. That basically, that little notification lets me know when I can apply a instant all my dots to another target. So I use that. This next one, incoming CC. So if somebody is about to CC me, sheep me, all I do is that macro that I showed you, which I have bound, I use that, and then it uses Shadow Word Death for myself. Stops you being polymorphed, stops you being hexed, stops you being trapped. So anytime you've got incoming CC on you and that highlights off, press that button. Really nice and simple. Void Blast proc. This is one I made for myself recently, but basically anytime that it procs or I've got one, it will come up and then I just use it. And anytime it's not there, I don't really use Mind Blast. So, and then last but not least, one that I've actually just made myself recently is when I'm against melee. Melee comps is Protective Light. So this reduces damage by 10%, and I think it's overlooked by a lot of Shadow Priests. So all I've done is added a little notification here, so I'm not looking up here all the time, so I know to keep this on myself at all times, just to ensure that I'm helping myself survive. And then in between these 10 seconds, I'll cast the Horts, do what I need to do to get any damage out. The next one, or the next big thing that I think is important to mention, I said I'd do these in order, I've clearly not, is Gizmos, T-Danger alerts. Now, these are obviously better for a healer, but they are good to show when somebody's doing a big go. It basically comes up at the top of the screen, will say or show an icon of the ability, such as True Shot Aura, and it will say who the target's on. So whether you've got to live swap, whether you've got to disperse, or you know you're going to have to disperse, so you can maybe check there, check the cooldowns of your team, and you want to use your cooldowns at high health. Anyway, guys, if this video has been helpful, or there is a question that you want, or a Weakauras that you're maybe wondering how to make, or maybe even a macro, please do leave a comment, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. We are doing the elite climb on Shadow Priest at the moment. This is currently my rating, so I'm at 1785, 1636 in 2s, and yeah, my solo, I possibly have the worst luck in RBGs out of anybody I've ever played with. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, check out the Twitch stream. All links are in the description. In the meantime, be kind, be peaceful, and remember, most of all, you are appreciated. Bye.